Welcome back to another explainer. Now today we are going to look at the Cambridge AS Afrikaans 8679 syllabus through a totally different, honestly fascinating lens. What if we treated this exam exactly like an e-sport? Think about it. When you're sitting in that exam hall looking at the source materials, the clock is always ticking down. It's you against the timer. So we're going to dive deep into the daily life, urban versus rural living conditions topic area today to see if we can map out the absolute ultimate optimized path to maximum marks. If you have ever felt that sheer panic of the timer running down while you're just staring blankly at a massive high-tariff question, well, you are exactly in the right place. We are going to establish a dynamic high-speed gaming UI overlay in our minds today. Imagine an active run timer counting down right at the top of your vision, and a mark velocity tracker measuring your exact marks per minute. We are going to explore how to completely eliminate wasted actions, how to hyper-optimize your reading speeds, and how to deploy rapid, perfectly structured essay frameworks to conquer this paper before that time limit hits zero. All right, are you ready? Let's start the timer and get into the run.
Diving right into the official principal examiner reports, which we are going to treat as our ultimate map layout for this run, there is a massive glowing red warning right off the bat. It says, most students lose easy marks. Examiners report that students confuse cause and effect. Now this tells us immediately that rushing blindly into the text, just scanning and scribbling, is a huge trap. It's a massive time sink. Too many candidates swing wildly at the essay prompt, misinterpret a Cambridge command word, and end up dropping immediate grade potential. It slows down their text output and destroys their mark velocity. So let's treat this whole explainer as a tactical speed run to bypass these exact examiner traps. We are looking for high velocity marks per minute, and honestly, you just don't get those by making elementary errors in logic. If a question asks you to evaluate and you just describe, your score acceleration hits a brick wall. We're going to fix that right now.
Okay, let's quickly pull up our run map for today's session. We've got 4 major checkpoints to hit. First, beating the core concepts. Second, the tactical methodology. Third, critical examiner warnings. And finally, number 4, achieving evaluation mastery. Let's clear this menu and jump into the gameplay.
Checkpoint 1. We are beating the core concepts and establishing the absolute academic benchmark required for this tier.
What is truly fascinating here is that the Cambridge guidelines expose a massive myth in standard exam prep. There are 3 entirely distinct cognitive domains at play in the marking scheme: knowledge and understanding, analysis, and evaluation. Let's look at a hypothetical player in our co-op challenge arena right now. We'll call him Player 1, Alex. Now, Alex is a hard worker, right? But he gets bogged down detailing secondary evidence points. He spends 10 agonizing minutes writing out basic textbook definitions of urbanization and rural depopulation in Afrikaans. He thinks he's scoring big because his paragraphs are long, but he's not. His screen buffer is practically locking out because he's suffering massive time loss. Why? Because to hit the top bands, the A-star velocity, you cannot just memorize and dump facts onto the page. That only satisfies the very first domain, knowledge and understanding. You have to deploy your competence across all 3 of these specific cognitive domains to keep your mark velocity moving steadily upward. Alex is stuck on level 1 while the timer is bleeding out.
So, what is the optimal route to solve Alex's problem? It's analytical depth. The Cambridge Assessment Framework explicitly prioritizes logical, structured reasoning and causal relationships over superficial breadth. If Alex writes 10 random, disconnected facts about rural farming communities, he completely loses to our optimized speedrunner who writes just 3 deeply connected, logically sound points about how specific rural agricultural shifts actively trigger urban migration. Deep, precise logic accelerates your score potential so much faster than just throwing a wide, superficial net of vocabulary words and hoping the examiner finds something they like. You have to thread the needle. You link the fact to the consequence, and then you link that consequence back to the core question. That is how you secure top-tier marks in the shortest possible time window.
All right, run is looking good so far. Let's smoothly transition over to checkpoint 2, the tactical methodology. This is exactly where we lock in our method marks, which basically act as your ultimate exam safety net when the pressure spikes.
Now this right here looks like the absolute optimal procedural route to take for any high-tariff question. Let's bring in player 2 to our arena, Sam. Now Sam is the exact opposite of Alex. Sam is a fast writer, she moves at incredibly high speed, but she keeps triggering marking penalties because she completely skips command word parameters. She just sees the topic and starts writing. Huge mistake. To avoid Sam's fade, we use this 5-step sequence. Step 1, deconstruct the question. You do a rigid 60-second command word scan. Are they asking you to analyze, evaluate, or compare? Step 2, extract relevant data from the Afrikaans source text. Step 3, select your analytical framework. Step 4, execute and verify your argument. Step 5, present with the correct terminology. If you memorize this specific flow, it literally becomes muscle memory. You stop hesitating, you stop staring at the ceiling hoping for inspiration. This systematic mechanical flow prevents wasted actions, drastically reducing your time to write and maximizing your overall speed.
Zooming in on that data extraction phase, this is where you can save huge amounts of time. If you hit a complex source graph, a table, or a dense text block about daily life in the city versus the country, you need to know your exact interpretation goal instantly. Don't just read it passively. For a text, your goal is extracting specific context, maybe quotes about a family's struggle in a rural village. For a table or graph, it's interpreting relationships, like the exact correlation between rising urban rent prices and declining rural job opportunities. You don't read just to read, you read to extract. Treat it like a 60-second trend extraction challenge every single time you turn the page. Pull the absolute highest value data trend without losing your momentum.
Okay, let's look back at our split-screen viewport. We have Alex and Sam working together live in the Co-op Challenge Arena to clear a massive paragraph layout before their screen buffer locks out, and they are fiercely debating the fastest structural path to execute their core arguments. Alex wants to slow down. He's saying, wait, we need to carefully outline the basic textbook definitions of rural infrastructure. But Sam is pushing hard. She's saying, no, we don't have time. We need to throw a high-velocity analytical thesis link onto the page right now to maximize score acceleration. Who is right? Well, Sam is closer to the truth here. The crucial point is this: you must transform extracted data directly into evidence-based conclusions. You don't just sit there and quote the data or define it, you instantly translate it into a weaponized argument. Every time you extract a statistic about rural infrastructure, it must immediately be changed to a conclusion about its direct effect on daily living conditions. You skip the descriptive fluff and you maintain that high mark velocity.
We are making great time. Moving into checkpoint 3, critical examiner warnings. It is time to spot the performance leaks in your gameplay.
Okay, time split check. Let's hit the pause switch on the active run timer for just a second. Listen to me closely. Before we execute this final top band paragraph and lock in an A-star grade velocity, you need to optimize your own subscription feed. Subscribe to AC Exams at AC Exams right now and turn on all notifications. Seriously, hit that bell icon. No matter if you are running IGCSE, O-Levels, AS, or A-Levels, this channel is your central tracking center to outpace the clock and fundamentally beat the examiners. All right, timer's back on, let's go. Let's look at the top 3 examiner-reported mistakes that will trigger immediate marking penalties. First, confusing cause and effect. Second, forgetting format and presentation. If the prompt demands a formal letter about urban planning and you write a casual blog post, your run is basically over. Third, answers not specific to the given context. Firing off pre-memorized generic urban/rural essays instead of answering the specific nuance of the prompt. Any of these 3 will instantly derail an optimal run.
Let's neutralize that first trap right now, because it is the biggest performance leak we see. Cause versus effect. Imagine I've got my digital highlighter out and we're doing a live time trial workshop. The cause is the trigger, for example, a severe lack of rural employment opportunities. The effect is the resulting condition, the mass migration to urban centers, which then leads to overcrowded housing. The examiner reports explicitly state that students mix these up all the time. They write about overcrowded urban housing as if it's the root cause of people moving to the city. That completely breaks your logical chain, the examiner stops giving you marks, and your velocity plummets. You must keep your triggers and your conditions strictly separated in your analysis.
And look at this stark warning straight from the assessment team. Students lose marks by not showing working. Even if your final answer is wrong, method marks can save you. Back to our co-op arena. Alex and Sam have hit a massive structural roadblock mid-paragraph. Their evidence has dropped completely out of alignment and their mark tracking is slowing down. Why? Because Sam rushed. She jumped straight from the problem to the solution without showing the examiner exactly how she got there. To fix this, we step in and deploy the Peel structure, point, evidence, explanation, link, as an absolute optimization template. We rewrite the text out loud line by line, make your point, drop your specific Afrikaans evidence, thoroughly explain how that evidence proves the point, and link it back to the question. This shows you're working smoothly and creates a pristine, high-scoring block of text. Skipping steps is a massive performance leak. Show the working.
All right, we are entering the final stage, checkpoint 4, achieving evaluation mastery. This is the A-star velocity upgrade.
Now I'm handing the controls over to you, the audience, for a live time trial.
To master evaluation, the absolute highest order skill, you need a flawless, high-speed problem-solving framework. Imagine a deeply complex scenario on screen about an urban housing crisis. Step 1, identify the given information fast. Step 2, break it into logical steps. Step 3, solve systematically. Step 4, check for reasonableness. Does this proposed policy actually make sense in a real-world daily life context? And Step 5, make justified recommendations. If you are asked to evaluate a new government policy improving rural living conditions, you don't just say it's good or it's bad. You run it through this exact 5-step framework to clear the complex problem-solving bottleneck and secure every single available mark.
It turns out the behavioral profile of top-scoring candidates is actually really fascinating. They don't just passively read the prompt and agree with it, they actively question assumptions. They consider entirely different perspectives. For example, how does an urban city planner view a new highway system versus a rural farmer whose land is being cut in half? And they justify every single decision with hard, textual evidence extracted from the syllabus materials. The key to the highest marks isn't reciting facts, it's evaluating those alternatives and challenging the fundamental base assumptions of the question itself. That's how you break the game and hit the top percentile.
And right before we hit the finish line, here is a massive final optimization secret direct from the examiners. Cross-topic connections lead to significantly higher marks. If you can take this isolated urban versus rural topic and smoothly link it to other syllabus areas, like environmental sustainability or perhaps economic inequality and global supply chains, it acts as a massive score multiplier. It proves to the examiner that you have a holistic, masterful grasp of the entire Afrikaans 8679 syllabus, not just one memorized module. Alex and Sam just executed this perfectly in their final high-scoring response paragraph, and if we look up at the screen, their mark velocity tracker has officially hit 100%. The run is optimized.
And that brings our run to a close. We have optimized the route, secured the method marks, and bypassed the biggest time sinks. Let's distill this entire session into 3 universal optimization rules for you to take away. Rule 1, the 60-second command word scan. Never start writing without it. Rule 2, the marks per minute budget allocation. Treat your time like currency. And Rule 3, the final 5-minute quality review pass. Always check your logical links. Now, exam mastery is an ongoing process, so I want to leave you with a question. Which specific Cambridge syllabus framework costs you the most time under pressure? Drop a comment below and let's strategize. And remember, subscribe to Ace the Exams at Ace the Exams, click that notification bell for weekly speedrun tutorials, and keep optimizing your runs. I will see you in the next explainer.